Go ahead and call the special meeting to order. And if I could ask everybody to please stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Chris Buckman.
Yes.
Brandon Earl.
Here.
Sorry. Andrea Kreifels.
Here.
Jason Newberry.
Here.
Deanna Garver.
Here.
Tom Henning.
Here.
Pat Zika.
I believe we heard from Pat, right?
Yes, she was out of town.
Okay. Okay. Next thing on the agenda is the adoption of the agenda.
Make a motion that we adopt the agenda as presented.
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second to adopt the agenda. All those in favor, say aye.
Oh, you need a roll call with Brandon on the phone.
Aye.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yep, we need a roll call actually, since Brandon's on the phone. It'd probably be the easiest. Thank you, Tom. Sorry, Russ. A little bit more work tonight.
Do it again, huh?
Yep.
Chris Buckman.
Yes.
Brandon Earl.
Yes.
Andrea Kreifels.
Yes.
Jason Newberry.
Yes.
Deanna Garver.
Yes.
Tom Henning.
Yes.
Pat Zika.
Nobody on the recognition of patrons? And our single item on the agenda tonight is athletic facility survey.
Yes. So appreciate everybody coming in tonight. This is a special board meeting, which we don't do very often, so we are streaming. With the special board meeting, this is the only topic that we can discuss tonight, but you guys can vote if you choose to. That is obviously up to the board. So I want to welcome Shelley from BCS. She is back to work with the board and has been on the survey. And so that we'll put a copy in front of you and also in your board packet for you to review. Kind of the plan for the evening is to use Shelley's expertise, and Jen can obviously, Dr. Kern can do some editing live if we need to, and reach a point that everybody is hopefully comfortable with a survey to get out to our community. So we have looked at this a couple times, and I know that we were pretty close this last time. There was just some requested to do a few more edits so that everybody's brains felt good about the survey. So I will get out of the way and we can kind of begin discussing. I believe that question 4 was something that the board had brought up as wanting some additional thoughts on. So kind of just a working session here on that topic.
And I did have a thought on question 4 whenever you feel it would be appropriate for me to share that.
Sure, yeah, if I remember, it was just the wording. Not happy with the specific wording of how the original conversations went versus that was one, and if there are other things throughout the survey the board would like to bring up, then that would be fine. Just trying to reach a point of conclusion on the survey.
Okay. Anybody want to start this off?
That's just going by memory for me, so I jotted down question 4 at some point.
Okay, so maybe the easiest way to do this is just go through the questions one by one. If you guys got any issues or concerns or want some rewording, so
Can we start at the top, that first highlighted?
we can.
Although they could be renovated if desired. I don't think that's really part of the point of this survey, and I think that muddies the water a bit and should just come off. Yeah.
And that was why I highlighted it just as, do you want this there, do you not? So easily removed.
Anybody disagree with that, or everybody comfortable with
I'm
that?
fine with that.
Okay.
My next thing is,
Well, wouldn't you take out the locker rooms and parking then too? Because that's what you're saying would be renovated, so that should be knocked out.
I believe originally, just saying this to kind of provide the history, it was thought that that was necessary so that people would understand that they wouldn't be included when you were talking about the other things. So I think somebody at some point wanted that in there for clarity that wouldn't be included. or wasn't part of your original plan.
And we don't need locker rooms at the new stadium because they already exist.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's plenty in it. I don't think we have ever discussed renovating the locker rooms at the high school,
No.
so.
And I think that statement kind of ties into the muddiness that maybe the questions on
Question 4.
because 4 kind of linked back to that, so when we get to 4.
My next thought on the last sentence of the bolded section. High school students will have the opportunity to complete this survey at school and should not take the survey more than once. So only high school students shouldn't take the survey more than once, or no one should take the survey more than once? No dash.
Just no
Yep, no space.
space.
There you go.
No one should not take.
Should take the survey.
There we've
I
got it.
like your wording.
Yeah. Very fancy.
I think you might say it a little bit different, I don't know.
Yeah,
No one should take the survey more than one.
The
Survey
intent,
should only be taken once.
the intent is for the survey to be
Yeah.
taken only
I mean,
once.
Or being completed once.
Yeah, Google had it right when you were typing it.
Yeah.
Google suggestions are working pretty good.
always listening.
I'm gonna put only once.
Per individual.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking,
Yeah,
once
once
per
per
person
person.
or
Once
once
per person, once per individual, once, yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds a little bit better.
Shall,
Oh,
survey shall only be completed.
Google
I'll
suggests
leave that
that.
to you.
Did it? What?
Yeah, that's what
I don't know.
Grammarly's for.
No, where's my Grammarly? It's not
Oh, we have it.
Are you in charge of curriculum?
Ed gets it free.
Yeah.
got I have it.
Maybe
But
we should.
please only complete this
How-
survey one
yeah,
time.
well, we got the survey experts in here. How would you suggest that we word that?
I think I would say, please complete the survey only once
Okay.
per person.
Please complete the survey. Only once.
Per person.
I think the per person's a little awkward, but if
Yeah.
you don't put it on there, then
Yeah.
people will say,
Yeah.
well, is that per person, is it per
Household,
household?
right,
So
right,
I
yeah.
think you do need that for clarity.
Survey should be completed
You could
once
say,
per person.
you could say
survey.
each person, please complete the, you know, you can.
I think that sounds good.
Survey should only be completed once per person.
Of course, it does say that in
So
the
we have.
previous sentence, each person over the
Yeah,
age
it's
of
trying to
18
get, it's
in
trying to
your
get the
household.
please to be
Right.
polite,
Yeah.
and then it gets a little odd,
Yeah.
trying to put the per
Please,
person on.
yeah, you're trying to be nice.
Maybe just take that sentence completely out because
It
it
does.
is redundant.
Yeah.
Because above that, you do have each person over the
Yeah,
age of
should
18 in
take
your household.
his or her own survey,
There you go.
One time.
yeah, just.
Yeah, and that,
Had that, yeah,
his or her own survey
one time.
one time before it closes. So just before the highlight.
Perfect.
There you go. Oh, scroll back up. Second paragraph, or indention or whatever. We're talking about locker rooms and parking and all that stuff. I think parking is definitely something that has to be considered when we're talking about staying at the old facility. So I would like to see, or wonder what everybody else's thoughts are about including parking and needed upgrades of the current football stadium. Keep going up. The current football stadium does not have access to nearby locker rooms and needs upgrades to its restrooms, concessions, entrance, playing surface, and parking. Or actually put the and parking before the and, I guess, or take the other end out.
Yeah, take that and out.
Because the parking, in my mind, is a big deal.
Then a comment after surface. Thank you.
Or should that be services?
No,
No.
just comma. Everybody okay with that?
And I guess if you're gonna add it there, do you need to add it on the next sentence? One option would be to update the current football stadium to add locker rooms.
See, that's kind of redundant too.
Yeah.
Because it said there and there.
Well, you were explaining what the two options would entail so that it's clear
Okay.
when you
Yeah.
ask them about it later. So I would, if you're intending to add parking to option one, I would include it there.
I guess in my mind, it's not that we're going to add it, it's that we need to at least consider it. You know, as far as what we're gonna get, as far as end results. Are we okay with the body of that,
Why,
the top part there?
cause I'm with you, it's redundant, you got it, you said it once and then right after that, you got one option. Why don't you just put the current football stadium needs a remodel? And then you come down, you go, one option would be to update it, put everything that it needs updated, and then the parking, and add the parking there, and then the second option is to build a new stadium. Instead of saying it once
No,
and
yeah,
then saying
no,
it again,
I'm okay with that.
you know. Because basically, you could say the current football stadium needs a whole remodel, is basically what we're asking, right? Is a whole remodel of the existing stadium. And then one option is to remodel, you know, and put in there what we're, you know, the restrooms, the concessions, the entrances, playing surface, and parking.
Yes,
And then the
that
second
helps make
option
it shorter.
is the building a whole new stadium.
Thoughts?
That's fine.
I'm cool with that.
I think that's clear from the standpoint of explaining, getting that background information before you get into the questions. I don't think you've omitted anything that would be
We're not,
confusing.
because we're still talking about the track in the next one, right?
Mhm.
The third one.
Mhm.
Well, no, we're not. We don't mention anything about the current track facility.
Not above. This would be technically football stadium and track.
Yeah. So remodel the football stadium and the current track facility. And then your one option would be, you just put your upgrades that you're asking
Yeah, the
with
only
the
thing,
track.
scroll back up just a little bit, Jim.
See,
The only thing I like about, I mean, I'm not saying I like that paragraph in there, but it does specify what we're looking at upgrading at the track facility. The bleachers, the
Yeah,
concessions,
but
the
what
press
I'm
box, and
saying
the
is-
restrooms.
you put then the current football stadium and tracks need to be remodeled. And then your first option would say the current football stadium and what you want to remodel, and then you put the track
Okay,
I'll just
in there.
bring that current track
so,
So
yeah,
right after the
Yeah.
parking, then just
Talk
put the
about the
current
track.
track facility needs upgrades to its
Just cut,
bleachers,
paste that sentence
concessions,
down
press
there.
spots, and restrooms.
Yeah.
So you're not redundant.
I just don't want them to think we're resurfacing the track again at its current location.
Right.
Bleachers, press box.
Restroom.
Concessions,
So, yeah.
concession restrooms.
And probably more seating.
Well,
That's part of the bleachers.
That's
Bleachers.
Oh, bleachers, sorry, yeah, my fault, my fault.
Everybody like that?
then in that paragraph, a second option would be the next sentence, then comma, a new football, right?
Yeah, that or take the then out of it.
Uh-huh. Why is track capitalized?
I don't know, I was thinking the same thing when.
Yeah, football stadium was
Football
capitalized
track
above that
facility,
before.
and it'll be lowercase.
And then in the next line as well.
Right here, yeah, football stadium was capitalized.
Yeah.
But she fixed it when she retyped it.
That's probably the changeover from a PDF to kind of Jackson out, but. Ready for question one?
Yep.
Anybody got a problem with asking that? I mean, I think that's just part of your demographics, right?
And
It's kind of out of order though, you notice
that happened in the
In the format change,
reformatting
gotcha.
of it because of the
Oh,
way
gotcha,
there's
gotcha.
space,
So you'll clean that-
they will be in
You'll clean that up.
numeric order,
Okay,
yeah, just
you don't have to fix it out.
Yeah.
somehow that happened, apparently the way that they were spaced out in there,
Yeah.
it's made one line out of them, they weren't one line.
Question two, what do we think?
I'm good with question two.
I'm just a little bit picky about that word belief. What statement best describes your knowledge? I feel like would be a better word. I mean, I don't care.
Feelings?
Yeah.
Is that better?
I like that. I like feelings better.
Feelings?
Hey Brandon, just checking, you still there?
Yep, I'm still here.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure we're including you.
You like feelings?
My wife will tell you no.
Moving on to three, is everybody okay with that?
Again, there's that.
And you have
Word
beliefs, so I'm
beliefs.
assuming you might like to change that to feelings as well.
Mm,
Or if there's another word. I'm not the wordsmith, that's for sure.
Knowledge might, you know about it, because one of the answers is you don't know anything about it.
Which statement best describes your understanding?
I would say stick with something that captures what are your impressions, so beliefs, feelings, impressions.
Impression of that word.
Yeah. Impression doesn't sound
Just
too
like that
bad.
word.
It doesn't.
Yes.
Yeah,
Feelings
fine.
or
Impressions and feelings, whatever, just fine.
If you like impressions, I might suggest impressions of
Yeah.
the current conditions instead of impressions
Instead of
about.
Right.
And then I think you would need to make that same change on
Two. Impressions.
yeah, impressions of.
Something tells me we can never sit down and write a book. Yeah.
No kidding.
Not
We're
Group
doing fine.
editing is
We're
always a
doing
difficult
fine.
task. You're doing great. Then do you want to do the same thing here? Impressions of instead of beliefs about. Assuming you still like 4. It's just-
Do we need 4 in there?
Well, that's kind of where I balked a little bit because
I mean,
yes, we have high school locker, but not as far. I think if we say that, we're going to apply to people that don't know that we have them at the football field.
yeah.
We don't have them at the football. Yes, we have high school locker rooms at the high school, but we
And since we took them,
a giant lump of the general public doesn't know the condition of those locker
Yeah.
rooms. It's only the students
that was
and
my
the
deal
staff.
from the beginning.
So
if we're taking out, they could be renovated, there's really no
right.
reason to have question 4 in there.
Yeah, if you are not planning to renovate them regardless, then I would agree that it's,
Yeah.
pretty irrelevant
We don't
question.
wanna-
Because it's going to plant the idea in somebody's head
Yeah.
If we have them,
that you might do it,
Yeah,
or
if
that
we
you're
have
going
them,
to do it.
then
So
we're
if you
gonna
don't have the intention of doing it, no
build
matter
new
what
locker
people think,
rooms. So,
I'd take it off.
I've never been in the locker room.
I've been in there a couple times.
I have, they stink.
They do.
Bad.
They do.
Just saying.
So everybody good with
But that's what
scratching
a
that?
locker room's supposed to be.
Okay. Cool.
No objections from anybody on number 4?
Okay. Progress. Moving on to number 5.
And that one's very difficult to read the way it reformatted it, so I would just
Oh,
Yeah.
gotcha.
suggest that
Yeah.
you look at it in its PDF form.
Again, is this a choose one or the other, or do I mark I strongly support option 1 and I am strongly opposed to option 2? How do we?
Each one, the way that it's going to appear in the electronic version of the survey, they will be forced to pick, what do you think about option 1? What do you think about option 2? So a person could theoretically say, I love both of them because I
Okay.
just want you to do something. Or
Okay,
I'm
okay.
strongly opposed to both of
Gotcha.
them because I don't want to do anything. Or they may take the approach of, I really like this, I don't like this as much, or I'm opposed to this one, but I kind of like this. So
Yeah.
they will have
Okay.
complete ability to feel.
So is it going to show
differently.
them? Is it going to show like we're seeing it, or is it going to pop up with option 1 and then once you click that one?
It kind of pops up one at a time.
Okay,
I think
that's
you
that
have,
makes
you have the link to the survey that I've sent you previously. If you actually wanted to go to it to see
okay. So it's
what
not
it
going to
looks
show
like
you both
when
and
you
you're-
take it, but it's going to be kind of one at a time.
Okay.
And they'll have to answer one, so
Okay, that makes sense.
you can't get confused and not realize what you're supposed to do.
Okay.
I guess is the best way to say it. It's going to
So-
say, how do you feel about
We can
this?
get that out to them.
Now, how
both
do you
then.
feel about that? Yeah,
We can get it
I
out
can.
to
Yeah, I
them.
can.
So do
certainly
they
send
have
that
to
them.
answer a question before another one pops up?
Yes,
And you're allowed at the end to go back and edit your answers.
you can go back. Yes. Now, once you hit submit,
Yes.
Then it's over.
you cannot. It will force an answer on each question,
On that
except
option,
for 8, where it's an open-ended question. They can leave it blank.
on that option 1, do we need to have that note that the existing football field will be used by middle school? Or do you think that,
I think that the general public, I think the people that are tied to the history of the, there's a big population that's still tied to the history and legacy of that field. I think we want them to know that we're not gonna walk away from that. We have to, it's not on that question, it has to be somewhere.
yeah, I'm thinking, that's all I'm saying, I don't know if it needs to be there, that's my, but I understand where you're coming from with the tradition and stuff to have it somewhere on
I think
that.
probably the clearest place to put it is right there when they're reading it and making their decision. You could put it earlier, but I think it might kind of get lost by the time they're answering
Well,
They
could you
might
put
ask
it
that.
underneath the section option stating at the beginning,
In the
stating
body.
that,
In the body.
yeah, in the
Option.
body of that second option?
Option 2.
You could,
Yeah,
Concentrate improvements.
people are going to be less likely to read that as carefully as they read this when they're actually marking something.
That's my only problem with putting it in the body, because if I'm taking a survey, I'm gonna read like the first sentence and then say, okay, give me to the questions, and I'm gonna jump and get to the questions.
So I really
It's
think
a-
if you want to be sure that people understand it when they're marking their answer, my suggestion would be to put it here, even though it makes quite a chunk of
Yeah,
text there.
that's all
I
I'm
think
saying,
that's-
it
I think
makes
that's your best place to see it.
just makes it a little wordy.
As touchy as the subject is, I put it on both option 1 and 2, just to reiterate that we're not,
So put that same note.
I know, I'm kidding. That was sarcasm.
Okay.
What were you gonna say?
Well, I'm just a little confused maybe. Create a new football field, track and stadium at the high school and make improvements to the current track at the middle school is option 1. Option 2, improvements at the current football and improvements at the track. So we're improving the track no matter what? Is that
I
the way
think so, I
it's-
think we have to, but regardless, we
Okay,
have to do
I
something.
just wanted to make sure that's the right way, that we wanted it worded like that.
Now, when you get down to question 7, you'll get some more discrete information about the track service, because then you'll know what people think about track surface.
Okay, so good with 5. Moving on to 6.
Is it 5 years? Current track was 5 years ago, resurfacing.
It was, yeah, about 6, I think. It was right when I came down here, so.
And it's good for 10?
I think it's good for longer than that.
Okay, I couldn't
I
remember.
think. I can go back, I have the warranty on it, I can let you know that.
Is that an age thing or a use thing?
I think it's more than an age thing. I think the surface starts drying up.
Because I was thinking if you take half of the usage out somewhere else, then that track would last longer. If it's a usage thing versus a time thing.
The sun gets the heat on it, I think it does.
Yeah, it does tend to be more of a time thing, so it's weather and weather extremes. If you get a winter that has a lot of moisture with freeze and thaw, depending on your surface and how new your surface is, the older it is, if you get a winter with a lot of water and freeze and thaw, the more damage it will do than, if it's year 1. So it really is more age than actual feet on it.
Okay, 6.
Just for consistency, feelings.
Yep.
Needs to go to impression.
Now here I might say that since you're not asking about, this is more like what they want, what they think it should be, as opposed to what it is. Feelings or beliefs might be a better word than
Oh, yeah.
That's true.
impressions.
I see.
That's true,
What you're
yeah.
saying,
Or opinion, could be another way to state it.
Feelings is fine.
Pretty good with feelings there.
Yeah.
Number 7.
Again, this does not do well when it goes from the PDF into the Google Doc, so I would recommend look at the hard copy. And this will be the same type of the way it appears in the electronic survey. It's going to be line by line, so it's.
So I might suggest the word on that first option, providing locker rooms at or closer to the current football stadium, just for clarification.
And then
Good suggestion.
again, replacing the track surface. If we do any kind of project Are we going to be replacing that track surface?
I wouldn't think so.
Yeah, I don't think,
It's not so much the track surface that we have an
Yeah,
issue
so
with,
it's
it's
the
the
other thing.
infrastructure.
So I think perhaps we should,
Track
Scratch.
facilities,
I think that's,
change the word surface to facilities, not replace, I
well, let's
guess.
go back to what you originally were talking about there, which was.
Concessions,
you said
bathrooms,
Concessions,
So it would
bleachers, press
be
box.
maybe improve track,
facility.
I'd list concessions, what was in the
press box.
Press box, bleachers,
concession,
bleachers.
press box, bleachers.
or something else,
You got it right there, concessions, restrooms, entrances, playing surface, and parking.
entrance.
So we don't even,
Well, entrances is the stadium.
no, it's at the
No, I
track,
think
the
it's on
track,
track too.
So all these
I see what you're saying, it doesn't lead you to believe that, does it? The track also needs entrance work done.
Which would probably be, I would assume that would be tied to concessions and maybe. put
Second
like-
underline.
Jen,
Take
so
the
will
booth
it
off the
let
side
you
of
go
it.
to that second underline where it says replacing
Right
track surface right there?
And add those things.
Well, yeah, will it let you type there, and so instead of, yeah. So I think it should say, instead of replacing track service, like improve track,
Improve those things at the track.
yeah,
Improve
track,
bleachers, press
take the
box.
take surface out.
The track was
Improved
replaced.
facility at the track, which includes.
Yeah, include bleachers, plus box, restrooms, and entrance at the track.
Current track.
The track was replaced in the fall of 2017. We had a 5-year warranty on the surface, which is up, but it was expectancy is 20 plus years.
Okay, so yeah, we don't need to worry.
But our warranty is up. It was up a year ago.
So you didn't really get to use your warranty.
We actually did use it. We had some issues about a year into it. That we
And then don't you think, Jason, that expanding the seating capacity at the current football stadium for varsity football games?
Oh, I think that's an opinion question.
Is what?
I don't think it's at the current stadium, I think it's just overall statement, what do you think, do we need to increase our seating overall? I don't know, either way, I
If we
don't know
build
that
it
it's a,
or improved it, do you wanna increase?
yeah. Was that the intent of that?
If I'm remembering your conversations correctly, I thought it was meant to be a general, do we need more seating at varsity games?
So that could encompass both, the new and
Right.
or existing.
Improved bleachers, press box, restrooms, entrance, and concession.
Yeah, we left entrance. Is it entrance or entrances?
And then currently it's
Entrance.
singular.
And do you want it singular or plural?
Well, I don't think we can do two.
Doesn't really, yeah, that
Yeah,
location doesn't really
there.
accommodate two very well.
Entrance needs to go in that opening
That
paragraph
opening
statement, yeah.
statement.
Yeah, that's what I was went back to look.
And I also have a note where we asked, do you like dirt or turf? I don't.
That's,
Yeah, that's question
that's
six.
Oh, did I miss- oh, sorry,
Question
sorry.
six.
Yes, question 6, the playing field should be grass, the playing field should be artificial turf. I do not have a preference between grass or turf playing, so that's.
That was like the only one nobody wanted to change, so we just kinda skipped right over it.
Very good with 7. With the revisions is noted there. Okay. 8.
See any problem with that one?
It'd be good just to get general information.
Yep.
Those are always good to read. It's nice to read those in the books you brought. Kinda.
Okay, so any other last minute things that kind of bothering anybody or things that we want to kind of tidy up?
Guess we got, I'm paying attention, we got entrances inserted up here, right? Could have put Boston track.
Yes, I added
Yeah.
it.
Okay.
Right there.
I need to add it
Entrance,
anywhere else.
bleachers, press
Press
box,
box.
wristband.
No, looks good.
Okay, yeah, we're good.
As we're finalizing everything and we don't have when the survey closes, do you know assuming that you're getting ready to say, yes, this is the survey, do you know the window of time when you would like to administer the survey? Typically, you wanna keep it open 10 to 14 days.
I think, yeah, you had the, that's more your background, you had the recommendation. I think once we vote on this, when are you planning on? I think we ought to just.
Yeah, I mean, I'll work with, Adam to find a good time. If you happen to
Is there any
have like
preferences?
parent-teacher conferences coming up or some event where you will have a lot of parents in your school and you want to get really good response rate, you know, sometimes people will set up, you know, a
Yeah, we
place
could have
in the
computers set out
school
and
where you can take it.
Encourage people.
So if you have something like that and you're interested in that, then I would say,
But that pushes it to March.
So I think
And
we
you
ought
may
to
not wanna
just
wait that
give
long.
whoever the ability, if we vote on it, just add 10 to 14 days to whatever date it gets published. So we give you the authority to do that, or
okay.
my opinion. I don't want to set something hard in stone now and something hiccups when we publish it.
And will there be like an alert that goes out to let parents know?
Yeah, Russ can work on
Yeah.
all
You
that.
mentioned like a QR code and some stuff like that, right?
What I'll do is, I do like a link, I'll give that, to you. I do like some Facebook graphics that you can post to your Facebook page. If you have tech folks that, can generate a QR code, we can do that.
Yeah, that's.
You do that, no problem.
So we
We
can
get it to-
turn that link into a QR code and, we can use that as well.
Can we do something with Sumner News Calendar, Daily News?
Yep.
Make sure it's
Do all
all
that.
as published as possible.
So really that, I mean, Shelley, that's a good point though, really. Is there any preferences on if we, obviously if it gets done, we can do it fairly quickly. If we don't wanna do that and we do want to wait for conference week, then we do that a lot over the year. We use that time we set up computers and as people come in, have you taken the survey yet? Have you taken the survey yet? So we can also do that strategy, which might get more things in, but it also pushes it off to
Yeah,
March.
it'll delay your time on when you get it. Once the survey closes, as soon as it closes, then I can immediately start writing it. I like to give myself, normally I say 2 weeks, but this is a pretty simple survey, so I can probably put this together in a week, although that kind of is dependent on, you know, if you close it and I have a Board of Regents meeting, that next week doesn't work really well for me. But anyway, depending on some timing caveats like that, but I would say in about a week to 10 days, I could easily get this turned around and have the information back to you. And generally I, you know, would come to a board meeting and present. So when are your parent-teacher conferences?
It is March, whatever it is. I have to look it up, the specific dates.
My
but
question is kind of like how that time's compared to like when your next board meeting is, unless you wanna have another special board meeting, but you probably get tired of
I'm
having
sure-
those, so
I'm
I
sure
would
these
like to
guys
help
want-
you avoid that if possible.
Yes.
I do have a quick question while we're looking that up. We decided every person over the age of 18 is completing the survey, and then the first question is, mark your age, and it says 14 to 17. So does,
Because we're allowing the high school.
If that just tells you if they're
Yeah,
high school
you
students.
said high school, and that was the
okay,
age you
gotcha,
decided
high
for
school
the high
students.
school.
Okay, I couldn't remember, we were kind of back and forth on on that.
So February 13th is the next board meeting. Parent-teacher conferences are the 14th and the 16th of March. Board meeting is the 13th of March.
Your
So,
April board meeting.
Yeah, you're looking to April before, if you push it to conferences, you're looking to April before we get.
I don't know that we're gonna hit that many more people at their conference. Doing the news cal and
Yeah, if he's
all
sending
this
out
other
links and stuff,
Be okay?
yeah,
I think so.
Okay, alright.
Okay, so we'll just
We'll do
decide
that
then
then.
when
Yeah,
we'd
we
like
can
to do
just
it.
decide as soon as you get done, and what I'll do is I'll send this after it's formatted or redone. And then also, when Shelley sends me the link to the new, I'll send that out to you too, so you can actually go through the survey itself and see what it's gonna look like.
Okay, so
We'll do that before we get it out.
with all that being said, I guess before we go too much further, we need to vote that we think this is a survey that we want to send out. I would entertain a motion if anybody wants to make it.
I make a motion to approve the USD 353 facility survey.
A second.
So, we got a motion and a second, so all those in favor say
Yeah,
aye.
gotta do
Oh,
a
roll call, thank you, sir. Russ?
Chris
you're up again.
Buckman,
Yes.
Brendan Earl,
Yes.
Andrea Kreifels,
Yes.
Jason Newberry,
Yes.
Deanna Garver,
Yes.
Tom Henning,
Yes.
Pat Zika.
Okay. Cool, mission accomplished. Okay. First step, of many to come.
Jen, will you, can you email me a copy of that or share it with me?
Okay, that is the only thing on our agenda.
Shelley, Shelly.
She used my phone for the agenda.
at dcsservices.net.
Okay, so with that,
Just save it and email
we are
it.
adjourned.
Thank
Thanks,
you all
everybody.
very much.